Folks, this is it. It's a Thursday night, and you're with the STC, the Sim Racing Team Challenge. We're at virtual or in virtual Austria on the A1 ring. It's the FlatOut GP. It's round 6 of the Sim Racing Team Challenge, and we're with the GTSport tonight. So, I'm your friendly voice, Eckhard von Glan, broadcasting to you live from the north of Germany. And with me tonight is my international crew. From England, it's Mark Warmington. Say hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for taking the Mickey out on me. It's, by the way, Mikael Hellen from Sweden is with us too. He'll be doing the watching the pits and checking out the times. Hi, Mikael. Well, he's probably busy talking to Damien Dane-Humain, who is with us tonight as well from GMT-DHR Racing. Damien, he will be driving the safety car as we head towards the grid. So that's your team for tonight, but I'm missing out on the most important guy, and that's, as usual, Jose Estrada, who is responsible for all the technology here. Hi, Jose.
Hi. I'm responsible for the technology. I hope everything goes okay.
Yeah, we kind of made a mess of it the last time you weren't around. No, we didn't. It was just sheer bad luck. But let's keep all our fingers crossed and hope that this broadcast goes down just as well as the last one from A1 Ring did, which is already a few weeks ago. So, talking about which, let's have a quick look at the standings since we're halfway through the tournament at the end of this race. Standing so far, and it's the Roaring Pipes Maniacs in front, 206 points, followed very closely by GMT-DHR Racing. And if you look at the amount of points they scored in the last two races, it was Roaring Pipes Maniacs pulling away after race number 4, and then GMT-DHR Racing fighting back in race number 5. Both of those races held at Vallelunga in Italy. There's a huge gap to the Black Rebels in position number 3, 150 points. Then the home team tonight, the FlatOut Club, 136 points, which is brilliant considering that they didn't score any points at all in the very first race. Black Visor Motosport, who weren't with us in the first two races but appeared on the scene the first time on the A1 ring, race 3, are in position number 5, 105 points. Then DHR Fanattack, that's the junior team of GMT-DHR Racing. DHR Fanattack in 6th with 93 points. Second of the junior teams, the FlatOut Juniors in 7, 90 points. And then my home team, Blue Flag Racing, in 8th, 87 points. And Team GG of France, a francophone team, in 9th with 44 points, and then Any Racing in 10 with 44 points too. But Team Northern Ireland haven't shown up again tonight. They're down to 11 with 13 points, and Torrent Motorsports, I'm afraid to say, didn't have a chance to show at any of the meetings so far. That's your overall standings for you. It's a huge battle up at the front between the Maniacs and GMT-DHR Racing, and then a sizable gap to a very hotly contested midfield, I would say, ranging from the Black Rebels all the way to, well, Blue Flag Racing, actually. So that's your groups from 3 to 8. Basically, lots of things are possible there. So let's see how it plays out tonight. And right now, I guess we should follow one of the cars around the track. It's the warm-up, and we'd like to show you the A1 ring and introduce the ring to you. And let's see which car we're going to follow. Maybe one of my fellow commentators here has a good idea what car is on the track right now.
Well, we have Panu Ronkainen at the moment, just taking in turn 1. Good as car as any to follow right now.
Jose, we're moving to Panu Ronkainen then?
Yeah, we are already with Panu.
All right, and he is going into one of the turns where the name is hotly debated. It's either Niki Lauda or Power Horse. I stick with Niki Lauda for the rest of the race. Into another turn, also named after one of the Formula One greats from Austria, that's Gerhard Berger. Now out of turn 7 into turn 8, little kink here. And then uphill, and we have a really devilish turn here. That's turn number 9, another Formula One hero, Jochen Rindt. And now into the last turn, which is turn 10. It's called Mobile Com, used to be the A1 turn. Now down the start and finish straight, you have the pits on the right-hand side. A very long pit lane, really, going uphill here, parallel to the pit lane. And we're out of the warm-up, and already we're moving now onto the grid. Just to keep you in the picture of the other turns then, that the first turn there is called Castrol, then you have another very long straight, then you have a little kink, and then going into Remus, turn number 3, it's another more than 90-degree turn, very tricky turn 2, and then turn number 4 and 5 we missed out on, that was Gösser, and then 5 is just another one of the smaller kinks. So that's your A1 ring for you. This brings us to the grid, doesn't it? And we now have we now don't have the anthem of Austria, but tonight, for a sad reason, namely an attack on apparently the royal family of the Netherlands, we play for you the national anthem, and followed by, or together with, a minute of silence in remembrance of the victims of this horrible thing that happened tonight in the Netherlands. So, the national anthem of the Netherlands in remembrance of today's awful events there on Queen's Day, which was supposed to be of a national festive holiday, and of course nobody in the Netherlands feels very much like enjoying the day today. And we also have a mostly Dutch team tonight on the grid. You can see that the orange colors here, the sun-red cars, that's Team RPM. And that brings us to the grid, to the results of the qualification. Qualification was again dominated by Cristian Haba, who set the fastest time with 1:37.17. He was followed by his teammate from Poland, I guess, Martin Skripczak, in the second of the Roaring Pipes Maniac Sun-Reds there, position number 2. Then Teo Bubicic for GMT-DHR Racing in position number 3 with a time of 1:31.3. Mike Simian of FlatOut in 4, home team in 4 then. And then we have a real-life racer in position number 5, Team GG, fielding their fastest guy, Ludwig Ghidi, for the first time this season. We welcome him to the grid here, second of our real-life racers, I guess, on the grid. And then Pano Ronkainen for Team GMT-DHR in 6, Tusting for the Black Visors in 7, Clark for the FlatOut Juniors in 8, Norgreen for FlatOut in 9, Visor, another Dutch guy here for the Black Rebels in 10. Xavier San Pedro, and again for the Black Rebels in 11. Then another team lineup here, the Blue Flag Racing, Bubicic and Larsson Christer in 12 and 13. Poitevin in 14 for GG. The second FlatOut Junior in 15, that's Roberts, and Dirk Bertram for Any Racing in 16, and Gary Lennon of the Black Visors brings us to 17. And now they're off. We see them crossing the start and finish line right now, and it's over into the first turn. And the two Sunreds stay up in front, and also behind them I could see there was pretty little movement on the grid. People basically stuck to their positions. It's the two Sunreds of Roaring Pipes Maniacs up in front, and it's in number 3, it's Teo Bubicic, followed by the FlatOut racer Mike Simian and Ludwig Ghidi in the blue, white and red Team GG BMW. Mark, did you notice anything at the start there?
No, it looks like a really clean start. Looks like everybody, as you said, maintains their positions. No bumping, no tyres spinning up or anything like that. So it was a really clean start.
Oh, brilliant. Seems like everything worked out well, and we have a first race leader here in the first lap, and it's Cristian Haba. We're basically getting used to seeing this guy up in front, don't we, Mark?
Yeah, I kind of get the impression that this year Cristian Haba is going to show a lot of us what it means to be a virtual sim racer. I have to say, in the last time he was out at Vallelunga, I thought that he was cruising up front, just carefully taking care of the car. We found out after the race that actually he was pretty much on it, and he thought he was having a bad day. So Haba on a bad day is just showing us what the rest of us would love to do on a good day.
Yeah, or even on a non-existent day. And here they come. Lap 1 is down, and Haba already with a little gap between him and his teammate Skripchuk. I hope I don't do that name too bad. Sorry, Marcin. Skripchuk. I have to work on my Polish here. And then the GMT-DHR racer, the FlatOut racer, and Ludwig Ghidi in the Team GG BMW seems to be the one that's closest to doing a first maneuver here. And here they go, and it's Ghidi attacking on the inside. Ghidi attacking on the inside. Skripchuk having a little problem there. Turn coming out of that turn. But Ghidi has moved past. Ghidi has moved past the FlatOut racer, and now it's Skripchuk feeling the heat of Teo Bubicic for GMT-DHR Racing. Bubicic attacking on the inside, but there's no way he's going to get past. But yes, he is. What a brilliant maneuver. He is now side by side. But now it's Skripchuk on the right line. He now has the inside line, and maybe Ghidi can take advantage of the two slugging it out there and move past. Big battle here already at the start of the race for positions number 2, 3, and 4, while Haba pulls away just a little.
Yeah.
So, Mark, you were just about to say something. Sorry.
Well, yeah, we've got Ben Tusting also putting a little bit of pressure on Mike Simian, and it looks like Ludwig Ghidi got a little bit excited and took to the kitty litter. He's back down to 7th place now.
Yep, he is. I saw that in the background just there. He went wide in turn number 8, just coming out of Gerhard Berger, and then a bit of a problem for her. So we're with Bubicic now, because that's where all the action is. I think for now, Skripchuk has got rid of him a little, and it's now the FlatOut racer. It's Mike Simian putting some pressure on Bubicic. It's two of the same kind of ride here, so they're pretty much evened out here.
Yeah, and if you want to know something really depressing, we've just moved into lap 3, and Cristian Haba already has over 2 seconds on the 2nd place Marcin Skripchuk. So unless Haba is on a lighter fuel load, it looks like he's taken to the cold tyres and the really big challenge of getting on it straight away at the beginning of the race. So this could be total dominance if he isn't on a light fuel load.
Yeah, which I bet he isn't. From what we've seen so far, Haba is really best if the circumstances are not really the best, like cold tires, full tank, and the Haba is able to easily pull away, and when things have settled down a little, that's when people start catching up to him. But as we can see here, we have this group of positions number 2, 3, and 4, huge battle, and then a gap opening, and then positions number 5, 6, 7, and 8, also very close racing there. But I wonder if Damien Danumane is with us now and can give us his impressions of the in-lap, of the warm-up lap. Damien, are you with us? Well, he's not, but Mikael Helen is with us, and Mikael, you also watched the grid very closely as we were on the in-lap, but right now we see Mike Simian attacking on the outside there, the FlatOut racer attacking Bubicic on the outside, but he definitely has to pull back because it's virtually impossible to do something here in that turn called Ramos on the outside. But sorry, Mikael, I was just going to ask you the in-lap and the start from your perspective. How about it?
Well, it looked very good from the start. There was some small pushes in the field just in the turn 1 before the start, but otherwise than that, it was working perfectly.
And give us your impression of Haba in this race. Do you think, as Mark just mentioned, that he's going to pull away pretty quickly now, opening up something like a 10-second gap or so, and then settling in for a comfortable win tonight?
Well, he got his moment right now while the others are fighting. He can just go slow and make up a gap without risking anything. So I would at least try to get away from the field.
Yeah, thank you very much. And fight here for position number 2, 3, and 4. It seems that all racers now have found their rhythm, and the cars are a bit further apart than they were in the first 1 or 2 laps, so it might be a good idea to actually move down the grid a little to see what's going on in the back of the grid, and also to catch up on some of the other racers, some of which are, of course, new to our viewers. Jose, what do you say? Should we move down the grid a little, one by one?
Of course, Eckhart, that's a classic, so let's go.
Okay, here we go then. Position number 3, as we said, Teo Bubicic, now actually moving a little closer to Marcin. Position number 4, none other than Mike Simian of the home team FlatOut Racers and the Marcos Marcorelli. Position number 5, Panu Ronkainen of the GMT-DHR Racing, second car for them. Holding back a little, also a very, very fast racer, Panu is. We've seen that a lot of times. Position number 6. And he's already passed the first of the guys, and that he had to pass. That's Ludwig Ghidi in 6, followed by one of the black visor. I just got information from a trustworthy source saying that we had a change at the front while we're going down the grid here. It's Marcin Skripczak has moved down the grid, apparently, to position number 4. There's been a little bit of a touch there, with Bubicic moving into 2, and Skripczak moving down to 4, and Mike Simian up in 3. But we're still with Ludwig Ghidi in 6, and we're still with Ben Tusting of the Black Visors in 7. And then in position number 8, it's Kevin Clark of the FlatOut Juniors. That's another one of the Marcos Marcorellis. And then the first really wide gap here behind Clark, opening to Vice. Visor of the Black Rebels in the beautiful silver, gold, and black Corvette. Behind Vice is the second of the Black Visors. It's Gary Lennon. And then second of the FlatOut racers, Richard Norgrain in position number 11. So Vice actually has made up some position. He actually made up one position at the start and passed Richard Norgren. Then in 12, the first of the blue flag racers, also from Poland, Cristian Haba there for you in position number 12 in the yellow and blue flag BMW. In position number 13, and he has made a very good start, Dirk Bertram for Amy Racing. He was on 16 on the grid, and he has moved up 3 positions. That's a brilliant start of the race for Dirk Bertram in the Corvette, sliding a little here into the second to last turn, and now into the last turn and out on the straight. And it's in 14, my teammate Krista Larsson, who's also our main skinner. So all the blue flag skins that you see are by him. Krista Larsson, and he probably suffered a lot yesterday night with the hockey and his beloved Trey Kroner team almost losing to the United States. And then in 15, it's the second of the Black Rebels racers, Xavier San Pedro from Spain, I guess. And now, let's say a big hello to our youngest father here on the grid, Sebastian Poilevin. He told us that he is father of a beautiful, actually very beautiful daughter, Iliana, and it was there was supposed to be a sticker on his car saying, "Don't pass me, I'm the dad." But since Poilevin has dropped from 14 to 16, it seems that nobody has noticed that sticker. And there we have him, Sebastian Poilevin. Congratulations from here. Congratulations from all the staff here of the Sim Racing Team Challenge. And running a little wide now, but running a little wide too, was blue flag racer Krista Larsson. So actually Poilevin has now moved up a little to position number 15, and Larsson is down in 16. And then we have one last car on the track, one last racer on the track, and that's Andy Roberts of the FlatOut Juniors in 17. So there we have it, the full grid, and since we had a change in 2, 3, and 4, I guess, Jose, it's a pretty good idea to move back up to the front. What do you say?
Yeah, let's see what's happening in the front of the race. Maybe something interesting is going on.
Well, I have some more information for you straight from the Black Rebels team room, and when Vice moved up his position against Richard Norgren, Norgren actually went into the wall, and there was a little touch between them, but I don't think it was actually Vice pushing him off or something. That would not be his style at all, so there must have been some contact there, and that's why Visor went past. And also, Michael, tell us what happened to Xavier San Pedro.
Well, on the green flag, just hitting the start-finish straight, he must have made a power slide with a powerful Corvette and hit the wall on the start-finish line, more or less. So he went from, I think it started in 11 or 10, and to the back of the field. So he's trying to gain positions again now.
Okay. And here we are with race leader Cristian Haba in the Roaring Pipes Maniacs Sunred, sporting the UNICEF sticker on their back wing. Very nice gesture by the team there. And as you can see, far and wide, no other racers around him, which means there is a huge distance already between him and the rest of the field. Maybe one of my co-commentators can give me something like a second difference between him and the second car. How far away has he pulled?
It's exactly 10 seconds.
Pulled out. Sorry to talk over you. Cristian Haba's pulled out a 10-second gap, and it's been through some quite dominant lap times. His best lap for the race so far is a 1:31.541, which is only 0.3 slower than Martin Skipchik put in for second place on the grid. So at the rate he's going, his best lap is still a second faster than Theo's best lap. He did put in a slower lap on his last tour, though, a 1:33.2, so I'm not sure what happened, whether he went too deep into a braking zone or something like that. But if he keeps going at this metronomic pace, he's going to put a second per lap on the field.
Whoa, amazing stuff there. A second per lap. So, 10 seconds gap. Let me figure out. We're in lap 10 then, aren't we?
Yeah, we're on lap 10, and if he does, if he can manage to keep doing this pace, and I see no reason why not, because he just put in a 31.6. At the moment, there doesn't appear to be anyone on the grid that can live with him. The next, as I said, the next fastest time is a 32.4 by Marcin Skepchik, and he's down in 4th place. So, that little squabble that they had at the beginning, where they were fighting over 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It may have distracted them, but I don't think it would have helped them in any way if they had managed to sort themselves out and focus on Haba. Haba still would have pulled away from them. He's got about 11, 12 seconds on them at the moment.
Whoa, and watching him here racing, his lines are absolutely perfect, aren't there? I can just see absolutely no slide, no wheel spin, no nothing. It's just clean into the turns, clean through the turns, and then clean out of the turns, taking huge amounts of speed out on the next straight. And it looks absolutely perfect sim racing from my position here.
Yeah, it's consummate car control. I mean, that's what separates the Cristian Habas and the David Grecos from the mere mortals like yourself and me. They seem to be able to plant the car on a line. They seem to be able to carry more corner speed. They seem to have to put their foot down and accelerate sooner. And that's where the fractions of the seconds are either gained or lost, into the braking zone and in the acceleration zone. And Haba is just putting on a masterclass at the moment. Maybe, perhaps, he feels he has a little unfinished business because he wasn't happy with his performance at Vallelunga. So maybe tonight he's trying to exercise some demons and actually put in the sort of dominant race he wanted last time out.
Well, for our viewers, let's hope he doesn't. For Cristian Haba and the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, let's hope he does. Let's move down the grid to positions 2, 3, and 4, and let's see what's going on there.
Well, Teo Bubicic just put in his best lap of the race. He just put in a 1:32.7, so he's starting to get on it now. I think he's going to try and start to wind down his lap times, and maybe he's going to chase Haba, or maybe he's going to wait to see if he can stabilise the gap, because although Haba's out front, we've seen in at least 2 of the races this season that Haba's had trouble in the pits. So the fact he has this 12, 13 second gap on the field isn't anything. He's got to finish first. He's got to cross the finish line and get that checkered flag, and anything could happen in his pit stop. We remember I think he lost 11 to 12 seconds in the first race when he went on to slick tyres instead of staying on wet. So it isn't over yet. It just looks that way.
I totally agree, Mark, and it ain't over till it's over. Is that what they say, isn't it? And we're with Teo Bubicic now in position number 2, I figure, and he's moving into Ramos, and he is also, as you said, putting in some very fast laps there, and in position 2. In 3, it's the home racer, FlatOut racer, Mike Simian, and Marcin is down in 4, followed closely by the second of the GMT racers, that's Panu Ronkainen, and then Ludwig Ghidi in 6, and he seems to be stuck a little behind these other 2. I would have supposed he would have moved up the grid a little faster. I know him to be one of the super fast guys out here in sim racing, and also, of course, he's a pretty fast guy in real life in his racing career. So, but it doesn't seem that today he can actually really do something amazing here on the track, but position number 6 seems to be where he's stuck at right now.
Yeah, well, we've heard from a number of the drivers that drive the BMW. I mean, we drive it in the Blue Flag Racing team, and we've heard some of our team members say that it understeers, and with the understeer, it can make it difficult to get the nose into the turn. And a lot of the turns here at the A1 are either tight hairpins or high-speed turns, and it may well be that Ludwig is just suffering from some understeer and just can't live with the cars in front. but we'll see as the race progresses.
Yeah, from my perspective, I mean, I'm quite an awful sim racing racer, but I would say that the Marcus Mark already really is best fitted for this track. It can be a bit itchy and touchy through the turns, but that little loose behind there could really serve you well in some of these very narrow turns. You can actually just let it slide round a little and then get the next straight lined up nice and proper. And what about the Spyker? Mikhail, you raced the Spyker last year as the Black Rebels. What's characteristic for the Spyker here? We see the Black Visors have chosen the Spyker.
Well, the thing with the Spyker is probably it's not very good at anything, but it's not really bad at anything either, so it's like the middle way to go. A little bit too slow to keep up with the best and a little bit faster than the worst, but apart from that, it's not a big difference.
Yeah, it's got a nice sound if you play it, doesn't it? Because it you are basically out in the virtual open air, and the simulator then also simulates some of the noise, some of the wind noise on the helmet, doesn't it?
Well, maybe a little bit different, but it's no big difference actually.
Yeah, we're with Mike. Simian in third, and we just in the back of the screen could see that there was a little trouble there for fourth positioned guy, for Marcin Strupchak. He was running just a little wide in one of the turns and has lost about half a second on Mike Simian in that maneuver there. And also I saw on my stream that Visor had to leave the race, so maybe Mikhail, you being his teammate, could maybe try to find out what happened to him, why he had to leave the race at such an early stage. It looks as if this was not voluntarily.
I'll rush over to the Black Rebels pit box immediately and try to find out.
Thank you very much. And here we have Mike Simian moving into two. Actually, Ronkainen, it was, oh no, sorry, Bubicic it was, had a very bad last turn of the lap and missed the apex completely, if I saw that right, and couldn't carry much speed out onto the straight. And Simian took advantage of that in a second and moved past Teo Bubicic there, so we have a new position number 2, and that of course is good news for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs. They now have one guy in front taking a lot of points. They also have the pole position, so they have 1 point already. They have the fastest lap at this moment, and their worst rivals, GMT-DHR Racing, are down in third. And if you look at the other pair of Roaring Pipes Maniacs and GMT-DH Racers, it's 4 for Roaring Pipes Maniacs and 5 for GMT-DH Racing for Panu Ronkainen, who is now under heavy pressure from Ludwig Ghidi. But there's a huge fight also here for position number 2 and 3. Teo Bubicic, he's fighting back. He wants to have that position back there that Mike Simian took away from him almost exactly a lap ago. And Mark, did you see anything on your screen that I failed to notice why Simian could move fast?
No, Eckhart, just like usual, your hawk-eyed vision caught everything. I was just about to point your attention to the fact that Bubicic was down a place, and equally the fact that Ghidi is putting a lot of pressure on Ronkainen. He's less than 2 tenths behind him. And I think we have the 2 closest battles on track at the moment, with 2 drivers that really want to, they really want to take the place from the guy in front of them. Should be interesting.
kart. I just came back from the pit box, and it seems like Weeds just had a simple disconnection with, well, he just couldn't see the car, so he probably just left the server then.
Oh, well, bad luck there for the Black Rebels. Sorry to hear that. One of the beautiful Corvettes out. While we're still with Mike Simian and Teo Bubicic here. Close battle for position number 2 and 3, which again should give Haba not only that he is the dominant guy in the field, but again it's the guys in 2 and 3 fighting there, and that of course distracts them just a little and gives him another 2 or 3 tenths of a second there. But I think my Hawkeye has spotted something else, and that is Ludwig Ghidi having moved up a position, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, and again, I was just about to bring it to your attention, but once again, your eagle-eyed hawk vision spotted that Ghidi is now back up into 5th place, and he's kind of on a move at the moment. We've already mentioned that he's one of the best drivers in this field, and he can't be happy sitting in 5th place at the moment. And it'd be interesting to see that now he has a little bit of a clear track in front of him, whether or not he can actually close up on Martin Skipcheck and put some pressure onto 4th place.
Yeah, sorry we missed that move, folks, of the Team GG racer there, but it's great to see one of the BMWs up there in the top 5 now. Ludwig Ghidi going down the straight here towards turn number 4, towards Gusser. One of the more tricky turns, really going down the hill, and you can't really see the apex as you go down the hill. There's a nice little bit of curve that he's just taken here that helps you get out of the turn again quite properly. And now into Niki Lauda turn and then Gerhard Berger turn. That's something like an infield here at the A1 ring. We mentioned at the end of last race that it's really only a virtual race here tonight in the fullest sense, because the A1 ring isn't there anymore. And Mark, are you in the know what happened at the A1 ring, or what is going to happen at the A1 ring?
Dietrich Mateschitz, the owner of Red Bull, was looking to try and get the A1 ring back onto the FIA register of registered tracks. They tore down all of the outfield buildings. I think it was back in 2004 after the last few F1 races and German touring car races that happened there. And in that time, I think they figured it was just going to cost so much money, too much money, to actually bring the track up to the current specifications required by the FIA. But a few years have gone on, and it seems like Red Bull, being Red Bull and wanting to fly their wings, haven't given up. And the latest that I heard was that they were again looking to see if they could actually renovate the track, bring it up to spec, and perhaps get again the German touring cars back. Once they get the touring cars back, they can then see whether or not the A1 ring is actually suitable for modern racing. If it is, you never know. We could see the Formula 1 return to Austria again in the future.
Yeah, and with Red Bull playing now a huge role in Formula 1 racing, it would be fitting for them, wouldn't it, to have something like a home track? I mean, most of the Formula 1 teams do have a home track, and this would just fit, Red Bull being an Austrian team, would fit them pretty well. So, at the moment, that's also what I heard. They're still looking into things, and there's no construction work going on. But obviously, the site they've bought the site, so they could start construction any moment once they figured out what they really want to do. But back to the race, folks, and we see here that some of the drivers starting to have some problems, obviously, with their tires. Or I saw Ludwig Ghidi there taking a very unclean apex. I also saw Martin in front of him having some trouble there in the last 1 or 2 turns. And now Ghidi has moved close, very, very close indeed. And now they're lining up there, and they're past a FlatOut racer, but I think that is, yeah, it's one of the FlatOut juniors, so I think that was the first of the left cars here. But we have a new fighter group here. It's Skripchuk in position number 4, it's Ghidi in 5, and it's Pavel Ronkainen in 6. And you just said, Mark, didn't you, that Ghidi now has a bit of open stretch before him, and you wondered how long it would take for him to close the gap. Didn't really take him very long, did it?
No, 2 things happened there. Skripchuk came across the back marker, as you said. it looks like he tripped over himself a little through one of the turns, and then Ghidi had a sympathy trip to go into the kitty a little as well, just a little bit. But it's one of those situations where you can capitalise on someone else's mistake. And remember last time we were in the booth together, you mentioned that line that a driver can throw out into the back of the car in front, just haul themselves in. Well, we can see that Ghidi has hauled himself in onto the back of Skipchik because he's left now Ronkainen behind him. I give it 2 laps at the most before Ghidi gets past. He's less than a cigarette's paper's width behind Skipchik at the moment. He's weaving on the track to try and keep him behind him, and I think he's going to make a move down the outside into turn 1.
He actually does. Down the outside, as you say, little touch there. Let's see if he can pull back onto the track. Yes, he can, but I think now Martin is slightly faster. Big touch there, but Ghidi can stay on course. He's flashing his lights like mad and saying, listen, I'm past, and don't try to pull anything on me now. And of course, as usual, that battle has brought Panu back into the race. He is now very close indeed, and Ghidi flashing his lights all the way, whatever he wants to signify by that. And it's Skripchak now. Trying something on the inside? No, he isn't. Ghidi is extremely good into the brake zones. It's what my analysis of his driving comes down to in the last few turns. Extremely good going into the brake zones, but a bit slow through the apex. And now slide there by Skripchak. Maybe that Ronkainen can capitalize on that one, but he can't. He can't. He's a bit too far away. And that's some great racing here. But yes, Skripchak loses it into the kitty litter, as you said just a moment ago, and now Skripchak is down to 6 from 2. He can't be happy about that at all. And so we have Skripchak in 6, Ronkainen in 5, and Ghidi in 4. A bit of place of positions there in about 2 laps that took place. Some touching there, but at least from my position, it was all fair play.
Yeah, and I think that the flashing headlights that we saw from Ghidi was probably just to say sorry to Skipchik for the little bash that they had coming up into turn 3. I mean, it's GT racing, you're going to rub some panels, and I think Ghidi was just being polite at the moment. But what it seemed to do was that position gain from Ghidi seemed to shake Skipchik a little, because we recall that the roaring pipes were telling us that the sun red is a little bit twitchy when you put the power down. And as Martin Skipchik tried to take his position back from Ghidi, you could see that he was getting on the power harder and sooner. And that twitching seems to be what has now cost him the 2 positions, as he's now back down in 6th place.
And while they've been battling for position 4, 5, and 6, there's another huge battle going on here. And in fact, Teo Bubicic has taken back his position number 2 from Mike Simian. And he just passed him as the 2 Marcos Marcorelli cars. Or do I get this wrong? If I'm not mistaken, it was Bubicic in 3 and Simian in 2 the last time I watched, wasn't it?
I believe so, yes. And what they're doing is they're focusing on each other. They're not on the same team, so you can't say, let's go and chase down Haba, let's work together. But you would want them to sort of like just settle down, calm down, and there's a lot of racing left to go. If they could just maintain positions, they actually were in a position where they were closing down on Haba. So his last lap, 32.6, the gap between them is only 20 seconds now, and he's on lap 22. They'd sort of arrested that 1 second per lap advantage that Haba had on them, but now that they're less than 2 tenths apart, you can only imagine that they're now going to lose even more time to Haba. They're sort of handing him this race at the moment. Well,
good news then for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, and but good news also for GMT-DHR Racer. They are closing in on the Maniacs here as Skripchak is moving down the grid, and Bubicic and Ronkainen are moving up the grid a little. It looks as if these 2 teams are going to come up pretty even at the end of the race if things sort themselves out the way they seem to do now. And it's about halfway through the race already. I can hardly believe that. Time's rushing by, and it looks as if the pit stops are up. I just saw one of the ANY racers, or the only ANY racer on the grid, exiting the pits already. Any chance, Mikhail, that we catch some of the cars in the pits at the moment?
Well, we'll probably see them in a few minutes going in there. It could be any time from now on, in about 10 minutes time.
For position number 4 here, folks, at the A1 ring at the Team FlatOut race, at their home race, and it's Team GG racer Ludwig Ghidi under pressure from GMT-DHR racer Panu Ronkainen, and they are really close, and Ronkainen at this point seems to have the slightly better balanced car. It might be that the BMW is eating the tires just a little bit faster than the Marcos Marcorelli does. I think that's what it does, doesn't it, Mark? Eating up the tires pretty quickly because of that understeer you mentioned.
Yeah, it's going to mean that he's got a less efficient turn-in, so through the switchbacks and through the tight turns, Ronkainen may have a bit of an advantage. I have to admit I haven't spent a lot of time in the Marcos Marcorelli, even though Blue Flag Racing ran it last year. But what I did notice when I drove it was it's a nice, stable car. It may not be the fastest on the grid, but it's nice and stable, and that might actually be playing into Ronkainen's hands right now as the GMT-DHR driver closes down on Ghidi.
Yeah, let's see if we can notice anything like going into the turns, Ghidi is faster, or going out in the turns, Ronkainen is faster or anything, and analyze this battle a little. Ghidi has pulled away now, just a little bit, and they're still within sight of positions number 2 and 3, so it really is a really close race here for GT Racing. We just saw positions number 2 and 3 going across the screen, and now we see Ghidi followed by Ronkainen. But he's another one of your really careful racers. Ronkainen is, as far as I can tell from the races I've seen him in, he is another one of your racers who are rather waiting another lap or two before they make their move, rather than spoiling it for both the guy in front and himself. So I think at the moment he is kind of watching and waiting. And my trusted pit wall spotter told me that Kevin Clark has actually lost 3 positions in 1 lap. He's down to 11, so that's a bit of a sad news there for the home team, for FlatOut Junior, that one of their cars is down in 11. That's Kevin Clark. Which brings to mind that we could maybe have a very quick rundown of the grid at this moment, since the fight between Ghidi and Ronkainen seems to have settled a little here. Ghidi has managed to put something like 100 virtual meters between him and Panu, and Ronkainen seems to be content with that. I can't see any really massive maneuvers by him in the near future, so Jose, if it's alright with you, before everyone goes to the pits, let's have a look at the field as a whole, shouldn't we?
Of course. Let's go.
I love the way you say let's go. Well, let's go. Go we do. Ludwig Ghidi in 4 for Team GG. In 5, Panu Ronkainen for GMT-DHR Racing. In 6, Black Visor number 1, Ben Tusting. In 7, Marcin Skripczak. He's down 5 places from position number 2, and from the way his Sunred behaves here, I would say Marcin has a little bit of a tire problem at this point in the race. In 8, Gary Lennon, the second of the Black Visors. In 9, Richard Norgren, second of the FlatOut racers. In 10, and boy, this man has moved up the grid, and we didn't watch him. Sorry there for the Black Rebels. Xavier Sampedro, last of the surviving Black Rebels racers in the Corvette. In 11, holding on to his position, Krzysztof Babic for the Blue Flag Racing. In 12, Kevin Clark. He has lost another position, obviously, there, the FlatOut Junior. In 13, Christer Larsson, second of the Blue Flag Racing BMWs. In 14, our young dad, Sébastien Poidevin for Team GG, teammate of Ludwig Ghidi. And then in 15, Dirk Bertram for Eni Racing in the other Corvette, in the green and gray Eni Racing Corvette. And he must have had contact with one of the walls here or another racer, because his car looks pretty banged up in the front right there. And then in 16, Andy Roberts for the FlatOut Juniors. And I think that is the last car up the grid, if I'm not mistaken. And we told you pit window would be opening now, and there we have Krzysztof Babic in the pits there for Team Blue Flag Racing. And he's of course now losing some positions. He's down to 14, and he is actually being lapped by the cars that you can see moving past. That's Marcin Szybczak there in the back moving past, and Babic should more or less be done with his pit stop by now. Now down to 15 and out of the pits again. So with the guys further down the grid starting to pit, I think it's only another 2 or 3 laps before the guys in front will pit. What would be your suggestion, Mark?
Yeah, pretty much agree with that. Whilst we were just looking at the pits information though, Ghidi just went deep into the hairpin at turn 3 and gave up his position to to Ron Kainen. So there's a lot of movement on the grid. The live timing's going a little bit mad as teams drop into the pits and come out of the pits. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. Right now we're going to see a flurry of pit stop activity. We're going to see drivers get some new rubber on their cars, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the drivers set their fastest laps as they come out on the new tyres.
And indeed, Cristian Haba, just by chance, I'm watching him on the grid right now. And Jose, if you can move our camera to Cristian Haba, because as Mark mentioned earlier, pit stops in Haba, something that didn't go down well so far in the STC.
Yes, we were already following him, Eckhart.
That's what I call coincidence, isn't it? But it might also be that, Jose, you're one very professional cameraman out there.
I really think it's coincidence more than any other thing.
Okay, and there we see Cristian Haba out of the pits. He is, yeah. It comes with the profession, I think. Anyway, Cristian Haba out of the pits in 5, and so let's try to catch the others in the pits as well, see where they come out in relation to Haba. Cristian Haba now in 5, which is further down the grid than I would have expected him with the lead that he had, but I think it's mainly the very long entry and getting out of the pits here at the A1 ring, so you spend a lot of time actually going into the pits and out of the pits, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, if you figure he's got 35 seconds for the pit stop anyway, but it's that sharp exit on the pit the exit as well that really slows you down. You're going at that pit limited speed. He only had 20-something seconds on second place, so he's probably going to give up 60, 70, 80 seconds on the pit stop. So, although it was a bit surprising, I think he's dropped down. He's out, I think, in front of Christer Larsson in the Blue Flag Racing BMW. So, we'll get a better idea of how good his pit stop did or doesn't go when we see Teo Bubicic go in. Because if he comes out and makes some ground on Haba, then maybe the pit stop jinx has hit again.
And then we have Ronkainen and Ghidi in the pits at this point. Ghidi dropping down to 4 there, and Ronkainen dropping down to 5. Let's see who exits first with these two. They were very close together moving into the pits, if I remember correctly. And Ghidi's sliding wildly out of the pits there, and apparently he is faster than Ronkainen. I can't see Ronkainen exiting the pits. Ronkainen exiting pits now, so Ghidi has apparently won something like 5 seconds or so on Ronkainen in the pits. Ronkainen down to 8, and Ghidi in front of him down to 6 with Kevin Clark between them. And Ronkainen is out of the pits, and he is down another position because he has just been passed by Marcin Skripczak. So Skripczak actually winning or moving up the grid a little here due to the pit stop strategy. And that's good news for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to really see how the teamwork comes together in the pit stop, because with so many cars coming in the same 2-3 lap window, 5 seconds in the pits is a hell of a lot easier to make up than 5 seconds on the track. So if your team can do well for you, get the tyres on, get the fuel in, send you out faster than the guy you're fighting with, it can make your evening a hell of a lot easier.
And right now we see Bubicic exiting the pits here, and he's dropped down to 3, and there's a FlatOut racer in front of him leaving the pits. And but that is not Mike Simian, who is in the same lap. Mike Simian has passed him now on the actual track, but Bubicic is out in 3. So Bubicic in 3 it is at the moment, Mike Simian in 2, and Cristian Haba back in position number 1, where he belongs. And I don't know if any of you pals have access to live timing at the moment, and I don't know whether live timing actually tells us the time difference between Haba and Mike Simian, as we apparently have come to the end of the pit stop window.
Yeah, it looks like Cristian Haba can thank his pit crew today, because they appear to have made a pretty good stop for him. He's gone in, he's come out, and he's come back out again 24 seconds up the road from Mike Simian, which is pretty much where he was when he went in. So I think the big loser in that pit stop window was Teo Bubicic, because he's in 3rd place and he's 5 seconds behind Mike Simian.
Yeah, also Ghidi has moved up on him. Ghidi is in 4, and he is within striking distance. And here's another winner of the pit stops. It's Ben Tusting for the Black Visors in 5. And that is very good indeed. He was, I think, down in 7 or somewhere, and he came out in 5. And I saw a Black Visor car in the pits, and it must have been him. I don't think he has his pit stop ahead of him, so he really gained there, and that's a brilliant position. Position number 5, and right now, and Kevin Clark behind him is racing for position number 6. So we have Bubicic in 3. We have Ghidi in 4, not very far behind. Then we have a lapped FlatOut racer there, and then we have we have Ben Tusting in 5. That's close racing there again for positions number 3, 4, and 5. So don't get mixed up by the FlatOut racers between these guys here. They're both a lap down.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the real losers so far in that pit stop window was Marcin Skripczak for Roaring Pipes Maniacs and Panu Ronkainen for GMT-DHR. They now find themselves in 7th and 8th places respectively, 45 seconds down on Haba. And when you consider that Skripczak was in 2nd and Ronkainen was fighting for 3rd and 4th not more than 10 laps ago, it can just show you how badly your race can go if just one thing doesn't go your way.
Yeah, it seems that Especially Martin was quite shaken by that battle he had there for position number 2 and 3, and hasn't been the same since, has he? Maybe something in his suspension, his virtual suspension, got a bit of a knock there that we didn't quite see, or that we thought wasn't so bad, and maybe his virtual ride is just a little bit off balance, because I can't really see how a racer who is he's a very, very good racer indeed, Marcin Skripczak, how he can lose so many positions in this race.
Well, it can just be like a domino effect. I mean, I don't consider myself to be a good racer or anything like that. I'm definitely one of your middle-of-the-pack drivers. But there have been many races when I've been in the zone and I've been lapping consistently, and then I'll put one wheel off the track, have an off-track moment, or get passed by someone I've been fighting with for lap after lap, and then all of a sudden the rhythm's gone. All of a sudden I can't brake in the right place. All of a sudden I'm trying to make up a little bit too much time, and you can find yourself chasing that falling knife, and the more you chase it, the more ragged you get, and all of a sudden that nice serene composure that you have on track is gone. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happening to Marcin Skripczak at all, because he's in a completely different class to me, but it just seems that it could be the car, or it could just be that his race is just falling apart on him. But we still have 35, 36 minutes of this race to go. There's still the opportunity for him to make a little bit more out of this.
Yeah, I agree with you, and for me it's basically from lap number 1 that the race is falling apart, but never mind that.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned earlier that with the new rubber going on the cars, drivers may be able to set their best laps or set some much faster laps than they were doing when they went in, and wouldn't you guess it, but Cristian Haba in the Sun Red Boring Pipes Maniac is now back into the 131s. He's back in that zone of putting in a second lap on the car in second place, and he now has 31 seconds on Mike Simian. And when we consider he only had 24 seconds on him no more than 3-4 laps ago, that is an unbelievable advantage to pull out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mark. That's absolutely breathtaking, and it seems with only, as you mentioned, about half an hour to go, that really from this point on, it's fair to say that it's really Haba's race to lose. Pit stop's been going well, start's been going well, first stint's been going perfectly. Everything that we saw looked absolutely brilliant, so it is his race to lose. There's no rain, there's nothing happening, and also his simulation seems to be working perfectly, and so let's see if anything untoward happens to him, but my bets at this point are definitely on Haba in 1. I wouldn't really put any bets on position number 2 at this moment. We have Mike Simian in 2 for the home team for FlatOut Racing, with quite a bit of a difference there to number 3, that's Teo Bubicic, and then number 4, Ludwig Ghidi, but they don't look as dominant and as settled down as Haba does.
He's done it again. We're on lap 34, and Cristian Haba has just decided to let the field know that he wants this win. He's just set an unbelievably breathtaking lap of a 1:31.447. The man is 57 minutes into this race. He's just got himself refreshed with new tyres. He's got some fuel in his car, and he's back in the zone. The lap that Mike Simian put in on the last lap was a 32.929. So we can see again that lap after lap, Haba is just stretching his lead on the field.
It's quite unbelievable, isn't it? Because when GTR Evo was out and everyone was doing the first, little test races and checking out the different new virtual rides, and everybody said the Sunred was worth nothing. Awful handling, looked awful besides, and just nobody could get the feel of it really. And I think we're all quite surprised when the Roaring Pipes Maniacs chose that as their ride for the STC, because they were the defending champions. They had so much to lose. But it seems that they have made an absolutely perfect pick, but might just be the talents of Cristian Haba, might it not?
Yeah, I think it's all down to the talent behind the wheel. You could put me in a F1 car and I'd still be slowest person on the grid. It might well be that the Sunred's instability actually works in favour of those alien drivers, because you want the car to turn in quickly, you want the car to have a little bit of slip. I think you want about 5% slip. You don't want it to actually be glued to the track. It's just that something like that demands you have some excellent reflexes. You have to be one with the car. And my brain just doesn't work that fast. I mean, when you see a lap like that, a 1:31.447, followed by a 1:31.503, it just makes you want to cry.
Yeah, you just said you don't want the car glued to the track. I can tell you, I want my car glued to the track most of the races and most of the time.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. A car that feels good on the track isn't necessarily the fastest car out there. You need it to slide a little bit. If the car doesn't slide a little bit in and out of the turn, then what you find is you've got too much friction, and friction is drag. So you need the car to slip a little bit. It's just that, as I said, it requires immense car control. You need to know what the car is going to do before it does it, so that you're already correcting it. And I think that's the difference between the Cristian Habas, Ludwig Ghidis, the David Grecos, the Gregor Hutus, and the Mark A. Wilmingtons and the Eckhart von Brands, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Mark. Nicely said, nicely put. I do get the hint.
Well, it's just that when I try and take a car that fast down the track, I usually have to reverse it out of the wall.
Yep, if the wall is left standing at all. Anyway, back to the race. We see Cristian Haba in position number 1, I figure. Jose, are we with Cristian at the moment?
Not really. We are on board with Sébastien Podevin.
Oh, well, our young father. Yeah. So, Podevin it is in position number 14, and a very consistent race for him there, holding on to his position more or less, and keeping up the pace, setting a good steady rhythm, and from what I can see, the car is still all intact, so he's treating it just as gentle and as soft and tender as he hopefully treats his newborn daughter. Podevin in 14, and let me quickly tell you who's still behind him in 15 and 16, and then I think, Jose, we can simply move up the grid for a change and see who's in front of Podevin. But let me quickly tell you that in 15 we have Dirk Bertram of Amy Racing, and in 16 we have Andy Roberts, and we've only lost one racer so far. That's Visor for the Black Rebels, so we're still 16 cars on the grid. Podevin in 14, and are you ready for that march up the grid, Jose?
Yeah, of course, but I went to Andy, you know, because now I think it's Haba lapping him.
Okay, so we start our march up the grid right at the end of the grid with Andy Roberts in 16. He is right, as you said, being lapped here by Haba and also by Dirk Bertram in 15 for Amy Racing. So Bertram must be up a lap on Andy Roberts at this point. Bertram, as we said, in 15 with his slightly beaten up car there on the front right. Looks a bit bad, really, doesn't it? But apparently that's not going to cause him very much trouble on the track. Doesn't look as if the virtual suspension is damaged or anything. Our young father in 14, Sébastien Podevin for Team GG. And then moving up in 13, Crystal Osborne for the Blue Flag Racing in the BMW M3, the understeer monster there. In 12, second of the Blue Flag Racers. They're really doing a team race here tonight. It's Teo Bubicic. And in 11, he has dropped a place, Xavier Sampedro for the Black Rebels. They have the number 3 here because they finished 3rd last year, and they're in position number 3 in the overall standings again, but with only one car on the grid, they might actually drop 1 or 2 places in the overall standings. Then in 10, it's Gary Lennon for the Black Visors. In 9, it's Richard Lawgrain for FlatOut Racing. And then we are now with the hottest fight on the track. We have Panu Ronkainen in 8. We have Kevin Clark for the FlatOut Juniors in 7. He has been stealthily moving up the grid. And we have Marcin Stripchak in 6. So he also has been gaining some ground. Right now a touch there by Clark. Stripchak moving a little wide. He can keep control. That was an awesome move by Stripchak. And a little touch there by Clark, and Stripchak could just barely hang on to his Sunred, and Ronkainen takes advantage of that. Ronkainen moves past, and Stripchak is now trying to get his position back from Clark. Touch again by the 2. And this is an awesome fight here. Thank you, Mikael, for pointing us to it. It's Ronkainen now in 6, Clark in 7, and Stripchak in 6. And now Stripchak has actually passed Kevin Clark there. It might be that Kevin has yielded his position due to that little touch he gave there and has done the gentleman thing, because moving past the way Marcin did at that point, otherwise I would say is virtually not possible. What do you think, Mark? Was that a gentleman gesture we just saw?
Yeah, I believe so. I was just about to say that for Ghidi to actually pull out and pull back in within 100 meters of the turn, he really needed Kevin to yield that position to him. But they were tussling on that lap as they went into turn 3. They were taking position, giving positions back, and now we see that Kevin's actually gone a little bit too wide and he's going through the kitty litter again. But these guys have been fighting over this position for the last 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, and Clark now seems to have lost his rhythm a little due to these, first touching Marcin and then letting him pass again at the end of the start and finish straight. And we just saw him moving a little wide, and this has given Marcin some breathing space, but it has also given Ronkainen some breathing space, because Ronkainen, Panu is now in 6. He's moved up, and let's not forget, this is the 2 major teams slugging it out here for the overall lead in the tournament. It's the GMT-DHR Racing team, that's Panu Ronkainen in the dark blue and silver, Marcos Marcorelli, and it's the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, that's Marcin Stripchak in the orange, black, and light blue Sunred. And we just talked about the Sunred being slightly unstable, and we see some wild drifting here by Marcin through the turn. So I think he is really pushing as hard as he can, either trying to defend his position against Clark or now making up lost space to Ronkainen. So we see some wild driving by him here.
Yeah, plus he's going to be a little perturbed by that move that Kevin Clark put on him. I mean, it wasn't Kevin's fault. The position was there to be taken. It's just that they both tried to occupy the same piece of track at the same time. What it's done, though, is it's put a little bit of fire under Marcin Stripchak's tummy, because he now wants to get back up the field and back into the fight he was just knocked out of. What it seems to have done, though, is it seems to have knocked Kevin Clark off this little battle, because now he's got quite a bit of a gap to make up if he wants to get back into this fight.
Yep. And Stripchak now in 7, and Ronkainen in 6 has really managed to pull away, I think something like 2 seconds or so. So he is rather safe at this point in the race, which means we can move up. We can move on.
Sorry.
Yes, Jose. Yes, go on.
Yeah, I just want to say that the problem Kevin Clark had is, I mean, after the touch and that he let pass Marcin again, Marcin had a problem in a turn. He lost the car, and Kevin had to go outside the track to avoid the contact. That's why he lost the distance.
Oh, thank you very much. I didn't quite see it. So it was really a second gentleman move by him in the same lap, which is pushed large enough, but he decided to, take it easy on his car, take it easy on Martin's right, and then ran wide, and that, of course, definitely cost him his rhythm, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, but he can take pride in the fact that he did the right thing. As I said, that it wasn't a malicious move. They were fighting close to the oval position. Both cars came together, and immediately he gave the position back as soon as he could. He didn't have to do that, but I think the thing that we've got in the Sim Racing Team Championship is the fact that, Team Challenge, is the fact that the teams have a great respect for each other. What Kevin can do now, though, is now he's got a little bit of clear air in front of him. He can get his head together and see if he can close back down on them.
Yeah, as I just mentioned, we might as well move up the grid furthermore from these because the battle has gone out a little here. They're settled into position 6 for Ronkainen, 7 for Skutchak, and then 8 for Clark. So let's see who's in position number 5 at this point. And then we have Ben Tusting of the Black Visors in the Spyker. He's holding on to that position. He's not really in danger that position at all. In the first place, they're battling it out behind him, and in the second place, he's doing a great race tonight, Ben Tusting. I really like what he's doing to the virtual Spyker here. He's lost his rear red brake light, so he must have had some contact somewhere along the line. But right now he's left one of the blue flag guys, and he is on his way to, well, not quite a podium position, but in the WTCC he would be safely in the points. And then in 4 we have Ludwig Ghidi. At this moment in time, the guy putting the most pressure on another guy in the grid, I've been told by my spotters, is Ludwig Ghidi in 4 and Teo Bubicic in 3. And apparently Ghidi is closing down the gap. Mark, maybe you can give us some information on the lap times of these two.
Yeah, Ghidi just put in a 133.084, and Teo Bubicic in the Marcos Marcarelli just put in a 132.922. So the gap between them is just over 2 seconds, fluctuating to just below the 2 seconds. Ghidi can see him, Ghidi's on the same straight as him, so he'll have a little bit more impetus, a little bit more motivation to close the gap. So right now, again, we're in that situation where we can see whether or not the driver in front likes being chased or the driver behind likes doing the chasing. And I think what we've seen tonight is that Ludwig Ghidi likes doing the chasing.
I agree 100% there. He really seems to be, if you can spot a car up the track, that seems to motivate him a lot, and to really put make the best out of the situation, and really put the BMW through its paces. So it's Bubicic in 3, it's Ghidi in 4, and Bubicic are running a little wide here onto the grass. That might have cost him a few precious tenths of seconds. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Mike Simian in 2, and he is not so far away from these two. So, as I mentioned earlier, really the fight between 2, 3, and 4 is, we can't really call it a day. Even with only 10 minutes or so of the race gone, there's still a lot that could happen here with these 3 guys. So Simian in 2, Bubicic in 3, and Ludwig Ghidi in 4. And let's not forget Cristian Haba at the front. Mark, can you put us in the picture? What's the time difference at this point between Haba and Simian?
Yeah, well, Cristian Haba's taken the Roaring Pipes Sunred into a completely different time zone. He's 35 seconds up the track from Mike Simian in the Marcos Marcarelli for FlatOut. And I think you made a really interesting point with the gap that we have between Simian, Bubicic, and Ghidi. It's only 5-7 seconds, and at the rate that Bubicic and Ghidi are putting pressure on each other, they could inadvertently pull themselves onto the back of Mike Simian. All he has to do is have one tiny mistake, lose 1 second, 2 seconds here or there, and as you said, we could have a fight on our hands for the second place within the last 10-15 minutes of this race.
So, nothing settled here at the virtual A1 ring in the Sim Racing Team Challenge, FlatOut Racing home race. We have Haba in front for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs. We have Mike Simian in position number 2 for Team FlatOut. For the home team, we have Teo Bubicic for GMT-DHR Racing in 3, and we have Ludwig Ghidi for Team GG in 4. And these are some well-deserved points for Team GG. Let's not forget that they are down in position number 9 in the overall standings, because they were kind of unlucky in many of the races, lost racers to incidents or to disconnections, or had problems fielding races and stuff. So really right now they're back in the game, and it's great to see them back up there, because they were also one of the teams who were with us in the very first Blue Cup a year ago. So they're kind of part of the original cast of this tournament. And Mark A. Warmington, busy on live timing, has just told me that we have 15 minutes to go in this race, so it's we're into the last sixth of the race, actually. How difficult to say that. Last sixth of the race, and 50 minutes to go with Haba, something like 35 to 40 seconds up there in front. It is, as I said earlier, his race to lose, but the fight for position 2, 3, and 4 is still as close as it was when we last saw them. So I think, Jose, nothing here against the Roaring Pipes Maniacs or against their brilliant racer Cristian Haba, but let's move to position number 2 to Mike Simian and see what he is doing.
Well, Simian just put in a 1:32.955, but Teo Bubicic behind him just did a 1:33.044. The three guys fighting over second, third, and fourth are pretty much pacing each other. One will do a 32, one will do a 33, so the gap is still fluctuating. Simian's now about 32 seconds behind Haba, and Bubicic is only about 3 seconds behind him, with Ghidi 3 seconds behind the GMT-DHR driver. So, as we said, they're kind of closing down on Simian. It just depends on whether or not they can close down enough within the next 14 minutes of this race.
Yeah, I'm watching Simian's lines. It's all very, very clean driving here by Mike, and it looks as if he's fully in control of what he's doing. Looks as if the virtual ride is still absolutely, completely, 100% intact. Tires seem to be doing fine there on the Marcos Marco rally, and as we mentioned earlier, it's one of the rides that, especially in a 90-minute race, well, you can't really relax for a couple of minutes, but you can at least not, give it your 120% as you have to do in the Sunred, but take it a bit more easy from time to time, just moving the car through its paces, just keeping your rhythm, and it looks to me as if Mike Simian is doing exactly that at this point in the race. He doesn't really have to push very, very hard. He doesn't really have to give it the 125%. Little slide by him here as he moves into turn number 4, Gusser, and out again into 5 and 6. But some very fine, clean lines. So, race control tells me we're moving down the grid a little. We have again lost a driver, I'm afraid. It was up on my screen just a little, and again, I'm awfully sorry to say that we need to send our trusted friend Michael Helen to the Black Rebels pit to tell us why Xavier Sampedro has left or had to leave the race. And also, I just now saw a GG racer entering the pit, and let's see who that is. So, it's Sebastian Poitevin, I've been told, and we're moving down the grid to a pair really slugging it out for a position, and if I'm not mistaken, that's position 9 and 10.
That's right, and Ricard Norgren and Gary Lennon have been swapping positions, and right now you can see that Lennon has closed right up on the back of Norgren, and he's going to be thinking about making a move into the penultimate turn. And there's another FlatOut car in front that actually put the move in jeopardy as they came up to lap them, but these guys have been slugging it out.
Yeah, that was nice racing there by the FlatOut Junior, moving off the track to give these two all the room that they needed. There was another battle going on between Poitevin and Dirk Bertram of AE Racing, but sorry to say, for Sebastian, he had to pit one more time for whatever reason we might find out after the race, and so Bertram has now pulled away from him in position 13 and Poitevin is in 14. But it's Norgren in 9 and the Black Visors, Gary Lennon in 10, indeed putting an awful lot of pressure on him. They're about to lap one of the blue flaggers. There, it's Christer Larsson in position number 12, and let's hope that that maneuver goes down well, but it might be the chance that Lennon has been waiting for to get past Ricard Norgren here.
Yeah, and Gary Lennon's in the advantageous position at the moment because he can see both cars on the track. So right now, Ricard Norgren's got to think ahead about how he's going to pass laps of traffic and think about how he's going to also defend his position. Whereas Gary Lennon only has to look ahead. He just has to figure out, where am I going to pass you?
And it seems that he has figured that out because he's on the outside now, moving into second to last turn. He's staying, but now he has, of course, to slow down because otherwise there wasn't enough space for the two of them on that line. But it seems that moving out of turn 7 and 8, that's Gerhard Berger's turns, he seems to be on a slightly better line than the guy in front, so that seems to be the point where he can catch up and really get very close to the Marcos Marcorelli in front. They're moving in on Christer Larsson here, but very slowly. Their pace is not that different to the left car, and you can see one of the Sunreds pulling away there in the background. That must also be either Martin or I think it's Cristian Haba, who has lapped the whole group here a couple of laps back. And now Norgren in 9 and Gary Lennon in 10. Let's see if Lennon can again move very close in Lauda and Berger. Norgren here with a bit of trouble in Gusser in turn number 4. And they're now into Lauda, and let's see if Lennon can pull up again.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more stability going into the braking zones, and we'll see now that as Norgren puts the power on, he kind of gets like a little bit of a slide on, whereas Lennon seems to just drift through the turns. But Lennon was a little bit over-ambitious on the last lap. If he had just stayed behind Norgren, he could have followed him onto the pit straight. He would have been right on his tail, and he would have just passed him. Going out wide to try and take him around the outside was always going to be an ambitious move, and he actually ran more of a risk of going off track. So now he's behind Norgren. He should really be able to close in on him into turn 1. I don't think he can pass him on this straight, but perhaps on the next straight.
Yeah, they've done the lapping maneuver perfectly. Christer moved out there, out of line, and let them both pass. So that was another perfect move there. And they're now down the second long straight, but the Spyker is, I think, in no position to catch up on any of these straights, so he really has to get out of one of the turns very well to get himself into the into that draft that the cars have, and then be in a position to maybe do something just as he closes in on the next corner.
Yeah, the Spyker doesn't appear to have the legs on the Markov, so it's going to be a case of him staying nice and composed, taking a cleaner line through the turn, and as you said, seeing if he can actually get on the power sooner. I don't think he can out-drag the markers, so he's going to have to try and do something unexpected, probably. He's going to have to come down on Ricard Nordgren in a turn where he's not expecting him, and just slip the car up on the inside.
Which would be no mean feat after 82 minutes of racing, wouldn't it?
Well, it's amazing. The adrenaline keeps you going. You get a little boost of adrenaline. It keeps your concentration going. You forget all the little bits of the aches and pains you've got, the little cricks in the neck. And they'll figure out how hard this race was about 30 seconds after the checkered flag, when the adrenaline stops flowing and they figure out that they've got pulled muscles here, there and everywhere. But the concentration that they're demonstrating is amazing. Lennon right now has something to focus on, though, so that's going to actually make it easier for him. Ricard Nordgren now is going to have to see whether or not he can withstand all of this pressure. He only has 6 minutes left to go to keep this ninth place, whereas Lennon can see that at any moment now they're going to come across another lapped car, and that little bit of that gives him that place.
Yeah, now we saw a slide by Nordgren, and that made Lennon really catch up. They're now on their way down the straight into turn number 4, and they're now on their way to the turns where Lennon has the upper hand a little bit. Look how close he is here. Out of the turn is Nordgren again, who can pull away a little. And now they're into the turns where Lennon has the upper hand. And let's see if he can do anything there, but no, he's running wide a little. Can't seem to be really fully in control as he goes into the brake zone there. And no way he's going to do anything at all in this lap. Nordgren now lapping what I think is Sebastian Tradevin's ride, and Lennon gets past as well. So all the lapping maneuvers here seem to be effortless, at least from my point of view.
Yeah, and it may well just be that as Tradevin's car came into Gary Lennon's eye line, that he could have taken his eye off his corner turning point, because that really was an ideal opportunity for him as Ricard Nordgren came up behind the Team GG BMW. Gary Lennon really should have been able to take advantage of the situation, but instead it seemed to work against him, and again, as we see, the Spyker just doesn't have the straight line speed, so he really needs to capitalise on these situations, otherwise Ricard Nordgren is just going to hold on to this ninth position. And we should say that the FlatOut junior driver is doing a fantastic job, because I wouldn't want Gary Lennon chasing me. The guy's good, the guy's a very good racer, so to be able to hold off this pressure for the last 3-4 laps really does demonstrate that he's been able to concentrate well, and he's keeping his car on the track.
Yeah, and just a little hint from me there, he's not a junior, he's a real FlatOut, because his back is not checkered. The juniors have got a slightly checkered back there. That's the only way you can actually differentiate the cars. Of course, you've got different numbers, but Nordgren is of the original FlatOut team, but I agree it's very difficult to keep them apart from time to time. With the four black and yellow markers on the track. Right now, Lennon again very close in the second to last turn. Another one of his positions where he can move up closely to Ricard Nordgren. And let's see if he can take that extra speed out on the straight.
See, I don't think he will. I think he's going to have to again close down him in the braking zone, because as we saw, the Marcus Marcarelli just dragged him down the straight. He can get into the draft, but it's one of those situations where the draft just helps him stay on the tail of the car in front. He doesn't have the overlap. He can't just pull out and still out-drag the car in front. So as long as Ricard Nordgren can keep his line, as long as he can take the ideal line through the turn, Gary Lennon should have no way past. He really has to push him offline. He has to make him make a mistake. Otherwise, these two are going to cross the line in 3-4 minutes in exactly the same positions.
Agree 100% there, Mark. And I've been quickly checking on the grid. We still have the same 1, 2, 3, 4 that we had the last time we were there. We still have Ben Tusting in 5. Actually, he is followed very closely by Panu Ronkainen. And then we have Marcin Skripczak in 7. And he must have some problems because just now he's been off the track a little. And then we have one of the juniors actually, Kevin Clark in 8, doing a great job there. And then we have in 9 and 10, Ricard Norgren and Gary Lennon, the 2 cars we've been following these past 5 minutes because they're really in a very, very close fight here. And it's basically, isn't it, Mark, as if every single lap mirrors the other. It speaks for their consistency. But now we see Lennon attacking. Now we see him on the start and finish straight, and maybe he can get into that precious situation where he can actually outmaneuver. No, he can't. That was very close indeed, but I think he pulled back a little to avoid contact there.
Well, we saw it again, though. He had the Spyker in the draft. Ricard Norgren had a little bit of a slide as he came out of the last turn, so he had the advantage down the straight, but the Spyker just does not have the speed. Now, whether that's something inherent in the car, in the chassis, or whether or not he's running more rear wing or a higher rear end than Ricard Norgren is in the Marcus Marcarelli, but all Ricard had to do was stay composed. He stayed on the ideal line, and when Lennon pulled out, Lennon really had to outbrake, but Ricard stayed brave. He hit his braking point and then just turned in. He didn't cut across Gary Lennon or anything like that. Lennon just had not been able to capitalise. Now, if that had been a Sunred, if that had been a BMW, anything like that with a little bit more front, they would have taken that position off him. So Gary Lennon really has his work cut out for him. He has to, again, as I said, he has to do something unexpected. He has to pass Ricard Norgren where he's not expecting to make the move. Otherwise, he's not going to take the position.
Yeah, I wonder how long he can stay focused, Gary, because he's been trying like 2 or 3 times already. And now another slide by Norgren, but Lennon this time is not nearly as close as he was last lap. No, not at all. So he can't take advantage of that slide. Mark, you've got an eye on the live timing. How many more minutes do we have in this race? Is this already our last lap?
Yeah, I think you've spotted that this is the 90th minute. This should be the last lap. Haba should be crossing the line either this time or next time around to take yet another victory for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs. But I just want to see whether or not Gary Lennon can take this last chance to take the 9th position off Ricard Norgren, because this is it now. This is do or die.
And here we are then with the race leader. What might be the last turn of the race. Let's see if we can see the guy with the checkered flag. He still has a blue flag in his hand on my screen, so we have another lap to go for Cristian Haba, and that means we can go back to the fight. And while we go back to the fight that we were watching there for positions 9 and 10, let me tell you sad news again from the Black Rebels. And that is that Xavier Sampedro had a mini dump, so both drivers had just PC problems or line problems and couldn't finish the race. And we're still with Cristian Haba here, and what is possibly his last lap. My pit crew has spotted the little virtual guy there at the start and finish, changing from the blue flag to the checkered flag, so good sign that we are in the last lap of the race. Haba now into the penultimate corner and into the last corner and taking what is a well-deserved and absolutely brilliant victory here. Cristian Haba for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs. He is across the line and he takes the victory in this race number 6 of the Sim Racing Team Challenge. And we have Mike Simian and Teo Bubicic, and they're neck to neck fighting for position number 2 and for position number 3. Bubicic has crept up on Simian there while we didn't watch, and it's now the last turn for both of them. But knowing Mike Simian, he will definitely stay in control and he will not let Bubicic take position number 2 from him. We have Simian going down the line, we have Bubicic going down, and that is what I call a close finish after 90 minutes. Simian in 2, Bubicic in 3. Ludwig, Ghidi in 4, and another close battle. Ghidi in 4, and Ben Tusting in 5. We have the checkered flag for Ghidi in 4, we have Tusting in 5, and behind that we saw Panu Ronkainen in 6, so that was another close battle here, right towards the end. Now we're waiting for 7th position, Marcin Strupczak. He is now approaching the last turn of the race for the Roaring Pipes Maniac Sunred, and he brings it back home in position number 7. And that means, folks, that was the race on the A1 ring, the FlatOut Grand Prix here, the FlatOut GTSport race, round 6 of the Sim Racing Team Challenge. We have a dominating victory by Cristian Haba of the Roaring Pipes Maniacs. We have a brilliant performance by the home crowd guy, by Mike Simian for FlatOut Racing. We have Teo Bubicic for the GMT-DHR Racing in position number 3, and he makes sure that the team stays well in the race for the overall lead. And we have Ludwig Ghidi of Team GG, position number 4 for him after dropping down the grid at the beginning of the race to 7, I think. He has fought his way back up, but not as far as we suspected him to be. And now we have the national anthem for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, and before the anthem comes, Jose, you tell me which country is it for? Is it the Austrian anthem or is it the Dutch anthem?
No, I think the country of Roaring Pipes Maniacs is Netherlands or Holland.
So there we go.
It's actually the same as Bram told me the other day. Like, very confused name for the Netherlands, but okay, here's the anthem.
And with me now for the first of the interviews is the race winner. It's none other than Cristian Haba. Congratulations, Cristian, on another stupefying victory.
Yeah, congratulations, Christian.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
So, tell us a little about your race. From what we saw, it was total domination.
Well, it was a pretty good race. I can't say that I was really matched in this one, but it was a difficult one during the end of the stints. The car is really very loose on the tires, and the tire wear is quite severe in the rear on the rear end, and that's why I kind of had a few troubles with some back markers. That was really my mistake for getting all those little dents in my car. But otherwise it was a clean race. It was full speed ahead, really, and that's about it.
Well, sounds like this was one of the easier ones for you. Mark, a question from you to the race champion?
Yeah, Christian, during the race, was there at any time where you thought that it might get away from you, or did you feel in control the entire time?
There was a few times where I thought maybe that tire wear would come into play, and I noticed that Mike Simian actually was keeping pace with me, and sometimes a little faster because of the many mistakes that I was making. I was a little too impatient with the car, and I needed to just focus more and gather myself together and put together decent laps so that I wouldn't lose my pace. But really, other than that, I had no problems. So I was pretty sure, definitely after the first pit stop, that I had the race in the bag and I could take it home, even just taking it really easy on the tires. But really, that's not my style, and I do like to just push as much as I can all the time. It comes at a disadvantage sometimes, but that's just the way I am.
Yeah, and you seem to have had a good training session with your pit crew, didn't you? Everything worked fine this time, but it's been different in this series, hasn't it?
Yeah, this time was actually quite excellent. I noticed that I actually gained time on Mike Simian, which was quite a big surprise because normally he makes up time in the pits, and that was a surprise to me. But yes, it was definitely a good pit stop.
Well, thank you so much, Cristian Haba, for being with us, and congratulations again on a great victory here for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs. That will certainly keep you in position number 1 in the overall standings. And I wonder if we have another interview partner in the room. Thank you again, Cristian Haba.
Thank you very much. Congrats to the podium, and congrats to my teammate. He did a great job. Thanks, guys.
Hello, Chad.
Yeah, hello. Who's that we're talking to?
It's Mike.
Hi, Mike. We just heard from Cristian that you were actually gaining on him in some stages of the race. Where exactly did you lose the race?
Really? Gaining on him? I didn't realise that. He was super quick. Grats, mate. That was some awesome pace there, Cristian.
Thank you. You did quite well.
Yeah, but we also saw in live timing that there were times when you were gaining on him, so for a lot of the race you could follow his pace. Well, it's not quite, but then nearly. But how comes that at the end of the race he had like 40 seconds on you?
I've got no idea. He was just flying away. I didn't think I was even close to his times. I was too busy watching what Teo was doing because he was pushing really hard. I was behind him for most of the first stint. Yeah, I just made a good pit stop. But realised after Cristian was going so quick, I realised I didn't have enough fuel for my second stint. So I lost a bit of concentration messing around with my pit menu. So I lost a few tenths there to Teo, and he escaped a little bit. But luckily I made it up in the pits again. And yeah, just managed to hold him off in the second stint. It was really close. I thought I was going to lose it on the last lap there.
Yeah, over to you, Mark. Question to Mike Simian.
Yeah, Mike. First of all, congratulations. It was an amazing performance. But as you said on the last lap, you thought you were going to lose it to Teo. What happened? Because you seemed to put in a 134 when you were putting in 132s the laps before.
The last lap, me and Teo had a little coming together. He was going for a move and just bumped into the back of me. But I mean, I don't blame him for going for it. I would have done the same thing. So I think that was why we had a slow lap there.
was there at any point in the race where you thought that maybe you could get on terms with Cristian, that perhaps if he had another one of those mishaps in the pit, that you could close the gap down to actually put a fight up for the race victory?
No, not at all. He was just far too quick. I was just concentrating on what Teo was doing for the whole race, to be honest.
Fair enough there, and seems to have worked out. So congratulations there, Mike Simian. Second position is always nice for the home team, and it seems that you have picked the right track for the right car.
Thanks, guys.
And I wonder if third position Teo Bubicic is with us now.
Yeah, I am, guys.
Well, that's brilliant. Teo, tell us about your race. You were up in the podium ranges through most of the race, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a good race. First stint was a little bit better. I lost second place in the pits. I went an inch too far, had to reverse, and a few seconds were gone.
Okay. Over to you, Mark.
Yeah, congratulations again. You put on quite a you put on quite a show for the viewers. What was it like? Fighting with Mike for pretty much the entire race.
Yeah, it was a great race. I like this kind of races, close. Too bad Cristian was so fast, so we could not get to him. But it was a great race with Mike. I'm sorry for the last lap touch.
That's no problems, mate. It was a really good battle with you. I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Yeah. I really thought it was over a lap before. Some of my teammates told me that that was the final lap, so maybe a little.
And that's why maybe you lost concentration there. Yeah, talking about teammates, anything you can tell us about Panu's race? Where did he end up?
He ended up in 6th place, I think.
So overall, a great team result there.
Yeah.
What do you figure? We have half-time now in the series. Who's going to come out on top, the Roaring Pipes Maniacs or you?
I don't know. I hope we, but if Cristian continues to be this fast, it will be hard to catch them.
Okay. Mark, any more questions from you to our 3 podium guys?
Just probably the question that 90% of the population of sim racing want to ask. Just how are you guys so fast?
It's a lot of practice and, putting in the effort with the team and making the setups. It's really just, there is talent, there's that, but, it's the practice and you need to focus on your target and just go for it.
Yeah, well, to put this into perspective, practice, how much time did you personally actually put into preparing for this race tonight? Is it like an hour, or is it like 10 hours, or is it like 100 hours?
Well, for me, I think I probably put around 4 to 5 hours into this race, just to practice in the practice mode and qualifying and the race pace. So it was a decent amount of time.
Okay. Mark, if you don't have any more questions, I'd be fine to finish the broadcast right here. We've seen a great race here at the A1 ring, and congratulations again from me to all 3 on the podium. It was great watching you.
Thanks, mate. Good race, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So, Mark, broadcast almost over. Give me your idea. Who will be at the top of the grid at the end of the season? Will it be the Roaring Pipes Maniacs? Will it be GMT-DHR Racing? Or will the FlatOut Club actually make a stab at the top?
Do you know, I don't know. I mean, we've seen Cristian Haba with some amazing pace. So Roaring Pipes Maniacs look really, really good. But of course, Cristian can only do 6 races. So with the talent that we see in the other teams, the second half of the season may well bear fruit for them. I would hate to say, because anything could happen between now and the end of the season.
And that is actually what the viewers and what I secretly hope, that anything could happen. You check out next week, guys. I have plain forgotten what tracks we're doing next week, but maybe once I have said goodbye to you, Jose can put you in the picture. And then this is goodbye from me, and somebody in the back told me which track it was. It's Donington. Thank you very much. I think it was Theo who gave me the information. So, see you again next week at Virtual Donington. Thank you very, very much again for perfect camera work to Jose Estrada, and thank you to Mark and Mikhail for joining me tonight for some very expert commentary. Thank you, guys.
Thanks to you, Eckhart.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you and good night.
Good night, all. Bye.